when you look at those documents, and remember how we had the experts talk about the state of the art, and all these companies knew it, and they had known it for decades, and then for people still now to be diagnosed and be told, look, you've worked hard all your life, now it's like a death sentence. It's 6 months to a year. It's a horrible thing, and they should have access to the courts.
How is it diagnosed? How does a person even suspect? I mean, you have some symptoms that start showing up. What are they?
Well, they're common to lung cancer, so there might be difficulty breathing. Fluid starts to fill up around the lungs, and doctors look for this, and the first thing they ask is, do you have a history of asbestos exposure? Once they find out you have some kind of history of asbestos exposure, they're going to look to do a biopsy, and they're going to find it's a definitive diagnosis right there that you've gotten this from asbestos.
Yeah, you remember the Ford case. In the Ford case, what the company did is they calculated how many people can die, and to where we have to pay the number of claims of people who died, and if we have to pay those claims, do we still make a profit? The same type of calculation took place in the asbestos industry at all different levels. For the insurance companies that reinsured these people, they made the calculations. The companies themselves made the calculations. And there's something else that these companies did about malignant mesothelioma. Here's what they figured. They figured we may not even be business 30 years from now. The guy's not going to remember the product he worked around. So these people that get exposure to asbestos, as you point out, there's no threshold issue. It can be 2 fibers. It can be 3 fibers that encase themselves in the parenchyma of the lung, the pleural lining of the lung, and then the tumor starts growing there. So who are the people exposed? Janitors. What is a janitor going to know about the products he worked around? Pipe fitters, they know mostly about what they worked around, but not all of it. Brake workers, construction workers. The industry actually knew and calculated that the people that were working around this stuff 30 years from now wouldn't have any idea that they were exposed to the stuff anyway, so what do we have to worry about?
Yeah, they were taking advantage of the latency period. You work in a transmission shop, you may not know you were exposed to asbestos, then it's, all these years later you get the diagnosis. So they were betting that they could ride this out. But now there's been some assessment of what is their potential liability, and these things the Chamber wants to do are bills that we're going to save them billions of dollars.
What do they ask? What are they actually asking for? What does the Chamber of Commerce want for these corporate thugs, these criminals? I mean, there's no other way to put it. Some of these corporations are criminals. And given the chance, can we take them to civil court and make them pay damages, or should we throw them in jail? I would prefer we throw the management people who made these decisions in jail. But what does the Chamber of Commerce want for their criminal cronies?
They want them to be able to limit their exposure by contributing to a limited fund. It'll be underfunded. But, for example, they want to say that no company has to pay more than $387 million over the next 30 years. And so if you look at Dow as an example, right now they're projected to have to pay out about $2.2 billion.